This is Soapbox Radio. Potting it out there with My Line Boots. The travel edit.
It's Ryan from My Line Boots. It's a Thursday afternoon. It's 4 o'clock and we're in Joburg and you're here with us on Soapbox Radio. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited. Today we're doing a travel edit show, and one of the first shows that will not be linked to my blog, to a blog post. I have in studio with me a very special friend who went traveling through the Drakensburg and did some photography there, and we're going to be chatting to her. But first of all, before we chat to Claire, let's just think about the Berg and what the Berg actually means. The Drakensburg is the name given to the eastern portion of the Great Escarpment, which encloses the central South African plateau. It derives its name from the Afrikaans word meaning dragon mountain. I never knew that one. It's about a 2-hour drive from Durban, and between 3.5 to 4 hours, I suppose, depends how fast you drive, drive from Joburg, and covers a distance of 1,125 kilometers and reaches a height of 3,475 meters. In 2000, the Drakensburg was declared a World Heritage Site, and it's the main watershed of South Africa and the source of the mighty Orange River. Today's guest spent a long weekend in the Berg, upping her already rather cool photography skills, and is here to tell us about it.
You're tuned in to Soapbox Radio. Potting it out there with My Line Boots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. At My Line Boots. And on YouTube. At My Line Boots Live.
Okay, so today's guest is Clare Appleyard, and like I said, Claire spent some time tracking with fellow photographers in the Berg. Welcome, Claire.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me. It's pretty awesome to be here.
It's cool to see you, Claire. So in terms of Claire, I first met Claire when her and her partner Davina, around 3 years ago, joined us on an Insta-meet. And funny enough, at that time, Claire, we were climbing a mountain too, or probably not as big as the Drakensburg, but we were climbing a mountain in Linksfield here in Joburg. And I can still recall the friendly face that I met was the first thing I saw when I saw Claire. It's really not easy to walk into these events and not know anyone and be friendly, and I tell you, Claire did a real stunner of a job on that first one. Claire and I run into each other from time to time, and when I saw that via Facebook she was going on this photography trip to the Berg, I was rather intrigued. So Claire, tell us, where does your love for photography come from, and did this push your boundaries?
Yes, it pushed my boundaries. I was definitely underprepared on a number of levels. Love of photography.
Not like you, Claire, not like you.
I know. I like to be prepared for everything.
There we go.
I remember as a kid wanting to be a sports photographer. That was it. I was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, everybody else in the class was like, air hostess, teacher.
Yeah.
I was like, sports photographer,
Okay.
And I just always had a fascination with landscape photography and night photography. And I bought my first SLR about 12 years ago. So it's been applying the 10,000 hour rule a lot.
How close are you on the 10,000?
Oh, I've exceeded the 10,000, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know the 10,000 rule.
Oh, the 10,000 hour rule. Yeah. Malcolm Gladwell's book called Outliers.
Okay.
And it basically says to master a skill, you need to put in 10,000 hours at that skill, which would take you about 10 years.
Oh, really?
So technically I should be on 12,000 and still counting.
Okay. We're making up for lost time, eh?
Exactly.
So Claire, now you define yourself as a hobbyist photographer, but I think probably you're selling yourself a bit short. Is photography a pastime, or do you undertake it professionally?
No, it's very definitely a hobby. It does not pay the bills. In fact, it doesn't pay anything, actually. A hobby costs you money, which indeed. I've discovered. Yeah. So, thank you for the kind words, but there's a lot of great landscape photographers out there, so it is very much a hobby at the moment.
Is landscape specifically where your heart's desire lies?
Absolutely. So landscapes, cityscapes, street photography, that kind of thing. Okay. Not big on studio work, not big on portraits. People are just too much trouble, A landscape you don't have to arrange, it's just there.
Yeah. So you enjoy shooting people on the street? When you say street photography, do you enjoy shooting people as they walk past around in Braamfontein, or are you looking more the architecture?
It's more the architecture, it's more the actual street scenes itself rather than the people in it. If a person happens to come into the photo, bully for them.
Yeah.
But, I'm not making them do poses or anything.
Yeah. No, posing doesn't really work. I mean, it does. Obviously, people make a living out of it. But I think...
you obviously haven't looked at Instagram lately. Lots of posing.
Just because your photo's on Instagram does not make it a photograph.
This is such a good point.
That's a conversation for another day.
Definitely so. Right, Anton?
Okay, while Claire and I are talking, check out my Facebook page for some of the amazing shots Claire got while in the Drakensburg, and send Claire a question or comment via my Facebook page or Twitter account. We want to talk to you.
This is Soapbox Radio. Potting it out there with My Line Boots. The Travel Edit. Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at My Line Boots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at My Line Boots, and on YouTube at My Line Boots Live.
If you've just joined us, I'm joined this afternoon by friend and fellow photographer Clare Appleyard, discussing her time in the Berg recently. Claire, tell us a little bit more about your photography workshop that you were attending in the Berg.
Okay, so it was run by a friend of mine, Mark Dumbleton, and a friend of his called Carl Smorenberg. And Mark I know back from my CrossFit days, back 4 or 5 years ago or so. Okay. And I always knew Mark was an outstanding landscape photographer. And sometime last year, one of my friends had tagged me in one of his posts saying that he was doing this Drakensburg workshop, and it just wasn't the right time. And then it came up again last year. He advertised it in October for March this year, and I looked at it and I went, wow, I want to do this. I've got the time, I've got the money now. It's it's the right weekend, everything works into things. So it was basically 3 nights in the Drakensburg at the amphitheater, which is obviously Montesource's, which is a stunning, spectacular part of the Drakensburg. And I stayed in very nice accommodation at a Witsieshoek Lodge for the Thursday night, and had a very nice hot shower and a nice hot bath, knowing that was going to be it for the next 48 hours. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. That was it for 48 hours. Yeah. And then we started hiking at about 4:30 on the Friday morning. My word. Yeah, we wanted to catch sunrise. Sure. We started walking at 4:30 in the morning to get to a certain point by sunrise. And then that was it, 2 nights in a tent. But great group of guys. I was the only girl. Oh, really? I'm not entirely sure what that's about. Apparently it's the first girl to do the workshop.
The people that signed up.
No, apparently women have this issue going without makeup and toilets and showers and that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, so obviously I'm a bit of a rough chick. So can't believe I just said that. Yeah. That's what happens when you come from the East Rand.
Okay, and how many people were on the course with you?
So there was Carl and Mark who ran the workshop, and then there were 4 photographers. So technically they have space for 6 photographers, but there was only 4 of us. And the whole point is to keep it small so that everybody can get individual attention with regards to the camera settings, with regards to the composition, feedback, that kind of thing.
Feedback on photography, especially when you're learning or upping your skill or just being taught more about photography. Feedback while you're actually doing it, I think, is the most important. Absolutely. It doesn't help to get home and then be told, okay, you had the wrong aperture or your ISO setting was wrong,
Exactly.
A week later.
Exactly.
Okay. So what was the main focus of the workshop, Claire? You really were in one of the most beautiful places. And I've seen the pictures, as I'm sure everybody has seen on my Facebook page now already, some of those pictures. The main focus was landscape photography, specifically landscape?
The main focus was specifically landscape photography, with obviously a big emphasis on sunrise and sunset, because those are the best times of the day for light. And we were blessed with some great cloud coverage. We had an inversion layer, so we were above the clouds for a lot of the time. But that was specifically the focus, was absolutely landscape photography. Yep.
Okay. And was it photography 24/7?
No,
photography all
God.
the way.
Woo-hoo, party. No, it wasn't. So obviously the prime, like I just said, and most people will know this, the prime photography times for landscape photography are early morning and late afternoon, so sunrise and sunset. So we were up at 5 o'clock every morning to take the photos. We take photos from about 4:30 in the afternoon, but during the day,
sleep.
Yes, actually. That is exactly what we did. Yeah. So we had a good few afternoon naps. Yeah. There was rock pools, a couple of the guys went for a swim, but napping was a big afternoon activity.
I can imagine when you're up those times. Because you're hiking as well. It's not just being up early, which is bad enough for someone like me, but you've now got to carry all this equipment, and it's photography equipment on top of survival stuff, whatever you call it.
Thankfully, I had a porter. So
Did you?
Thank God for Marty, who carried my tripod and my tent and a couple of other things. Yeah,
may just come on this course now if I hear these porters.
Yeah. No, but they can only carry a certain amount. But yeah, so it was very much get up, take photos.
Yeah.
We didn't do too much walking on, after lunchtime on the Friday or the Saturday.
Okay.
But it was good.
Okay. So did you need to acquire any additional photographic equipment for the workshop?
No, I pretty much had, I've got a pretty decent, it's not a top range camera, but I've got a pretty decent camera and the lens
is it a Canon?
It is a Canon.
Oh, well done. I like you even more now than I liked you just now.
Canon's the way forward.
There we go.
I have a Fuji as well, but we'll talk about that another day.
delete.
But no, I pretty much had all the equipment I needed, thanks.
Okay. So what then was in your arsenal on this long weekend from a photographic point of view, Claire?
So I took my SLR, which is a Canon 70D. I took a standard kit lens, which was an 18-135, which kind of covered wide angle to a bit of a zoom. And then I took a Sigma 1020 wide angle lens.
Okay.
Couple of filters, couple of neutral density filters, a polarizing filter, tripod, very essential. Remote control for long exposures and shutters and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Extra batteries and extra memory cards. That was it. Yeah.
Okay. Share some of the things that you learnt while on this amazing trip, Claire.
I'm not as good as I thought I was.
I suppose that's probably the case, otherwise you wouldn't have signed up.
Exactly. So I learned some great new techniques from Mark and Carl on bracketing and
exposure bracketing, up and down, middle,
up and down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was doing it one way. I've now learned a much more effective way to do it. Blocking out the sun, when you're photographing sunrise and sunset, so you don't get the rays, and then you can blend them in Photoshop and get rid of the hand, which is in the way of the sun.
Okay.
So I'll be learning up on that.
I'm going to have to come learn some Photoshop skills from you. Sounds like
and just some general shortcuts on the camera that I didn't know existed, which was great. And also the basic settings, what aperture to use, what shutter speed to use, that kind of thing. And also what was interesting for me was when Carl spoke about taking photos on aperture priority mode as opposed to manual. And I'm like, but I thought all professionals use manual.
Yeah.
That was what you did.
Oh, really?
But no, he was like, put it on aperture value.
Goodness me, I think some people are turning in their graves.
Absolutely. But always shoot raw. Always shoot raw.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
So be sure to share some of your thoughts and comments with me on Facebook and Twitter and be part of our show now.
This is Soapbox Radio. Potting it out there with My Line Boots. The Travel Edit. Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at MyLineBoots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at MyLineBoots and on YouTube at My Line Boots Live.
So now, Claire, tell me, was this your first time hiking in the Berg?
No, it wasn't. My first time hiking in the Berg was 1991, so that makes that 26 years ago. So I was significantly younger, significantly more green around the gills. And we did a hike when I was in Standard 8. That's how long ago it was. Yeah. So this was actually my first time returning to do an overnight camping hike in 26 years.
And were you emotionally and mentally prepared for it? There's your answer.
It was interesting. Let's put it that way. It was interesting.
Okay.
I actually fared a lot better on a fitness level than I thought I would. So I was happy about that.
Did you break down in tears at any point, Claire?
I wanted to break down in tears on the Saturday morning when Mark woke us up at 5 o'clock, and I hadn't slept as much as I wanted to because it was so frigging freezing.
Yeah.
That was nearly a tearful moment. But apart from that, I was good.
All right. So now tell us exactly where were you in the Berg? I'm sure you didn't walk the entire 1,125 kilometers that weekend, Claire.
We're good. We're not that good. So we started off at what's called the Sentinel car park, which is the Sentinel is, if you're looking at the amphitheater in the Drakensburg, it's the big buttress on the right-hand side that you can see. I cannot remember the height of it off the top of my head, but the Sentinel hike goes from there, and it's ostensibly a one-day hike. It's like a day hike. So what a lot of people do, it's a most popular day hike in South Africa. They drive to the car park, they hike 2.5 hours up to the top of the amphitheater, they frolic in the rock pools, and then walk back down. So really it was actually only about 8-9 Ks to the top, which is what we did on Friday. Yeah. So technically I did about 20 Ks, which is a lot different to 1,125.
Well, it's a portion of the 1,125, eh?
It's not even like a percent.
Well, we'll just pretend we know the answer to that one.
Fair enough.
Lynn's come to us on Twitter, Claire, and she
has.
says, I really have a lot to learn listening to you. Do you have to be a professional photographer to attend the course? She wants to know.
You don't have to be a professional photographer to attend the course, but some basic knowledge would be helpful.
When you say basic, how basic?
Like you need
understanding
basic understanding of aperture and shutter speed and exposures would help. You definitely need an SLR, definitely need a DSLR, and you need a variety of lenses. So you don't need to be a professional, but if you've never picked up a camera,
it might be difficult.
Don't do it.
Really? Yeah.
It would be a waste.
You're going to be lost.
You'd be lost, and it would be a waste of Carl and Mark's time, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
They're relying on you having a basic understanding of changing the shutter speed. If they say change the shutter speed, you need to know what the shutter speed is. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I see Ridvan Williams has also come to us on Twitter and said, during the course, were there times to relax under the stars? Or was it too cold?
Well, on Friday night, we couldn't see the stars because there was so much mist. On Saturday night was actually a stunningly clear night, which you can hopefully see from one of the tent photos that Ryan has posted. I think I gave him that one.
Tent one is there.
So yes, we could relax under the stars, but it was a little chilly to be outside of the tent, so we pretty much relaxed in our tent, looking at the roof of the tent.
Was it an attractive roof?
Oh, it was delightful.
Well stitched, is it?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you carried your supplies and your photographic equipment with you. Cheapers, Claire. That's quite something.
Ta-da, and this is why we do CrossFit. Ta-da.
Oh, okay.
Technically,
so do you have to do CrossFit to do this course?
Hell no. And I've stopped CrossFit, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
No, I actually hired a porter because, according to your body weight, you don't want to be carrying more than, say, 25% of your body weight, which if I tell you what I should be carrying, that gives my weight away, but it was 15 kilos, so go calculate. And my bag was going to be heavier than that, so I actually hired a porter, and the porter helped out with the tent and the tripod and some of the cooking equipment, but I carried about 10 kilos myself.
Okay. So you managed with that?
I managed with that. That was good, yeah.
All right. You're obviously well equipped photographically. You've told us what you've taken on the hike. Talk to us a little bit about that Neurolight 2 tent. It was a 2-person tent that was sponsored to you by Cape Union Mart, and I believe it was orange, and believe it was really it was ready for action in just about 10 minutes. I wanted to say it was erected in 10 minutes.
You could say it was erected in 10 minutes.
Sounds like something I could even do to think about. Well, okay.
Yeah, let's not go there, Ryan. Moving right along. So yes, it was a great tent, and many thanks to you for hooking me up to Berdene at Cape Union Mart for that. So I really appreciate that they helped me out with that. And the first time I test drove putting it up in the garden, it took me about 18 minutes. But I figured by the time I needed to put it up, and thankfully the porter put it up for me. But obviously I did try it in the garden. Great little tent.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't travel light, being a woman.
Yeah.
Even on a hike. So I pretty much filled the tent with my stuff.
Okay.
So
what other stuff did you have in there?
Like clothes and things, toiletries and tea bags and
Did you have a hairdryer?
Do I look like I have a hairdryer?
I'm just trying to ask because you said you had a lot of stuff. I'm just thinking, what is there, and is it reasonable to be asking
when you unpack everything, it was my makeup container.
There
my
we go.
MAC makeup, Ryan.
Was it one of those steel boxes that you
get? It was like folded out like a toolbox.
What a trooper, Claire, what a trooper.
But it was it was a great tent. It knuckled down well in the wind. It was really windy on the Friday night, so it did really well there. Nice and comfortable. It stayed dry. Which was great and very easy to put up and very easy to put down. I'll be honest, I wouldn't put 2 people in it unless you were super cozy and you had no stuff with you.
Yeah.
But certainly if you're hiking and you have a rucksack and you have boots and you have stuff, you just have stuff,
I went hiking many years ago with a friend of mine into and a group of his friends from Stellenbosch University.
Oh yeah.
And we did articles together, and Marius had got this 2-man tent for him and I to share, but he took a liking to one of the girls and invited her into the tent as well. There were 3 of us, really cozy, and he erected the tent on an incline, so I think they were all on top of me. It was a really interesting afternoon.
This is Soapbox Radio. Potting it out there with My Lime Boots. The Travel Edit. Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at My Lime Boots. Find My Lime Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at My Lime Boots, and on YouTube at My Lime Boots Live.
Great. So I'm in studio this afternoon talking to Clare Appleyard, my friend Clare Appleyard, about her time in the Drakensburg recently on a photography course. We're joined now on the line on Skype by Berdene Nell from the marketing department of Cape Union Mart in Cape Town. Good afternoon, Berdene.
Hi, Ryan. Hi, Claire. How are you guys doing?
Good to hear your voice, Berdene.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me. I'm actually joining you guys from a rainy afternoon in Cape Town, if you can believe that.
It's raining here in Joburg too, so I don't know what's happening with this weather. So, Berdene, you fine folks at Cape Union Mart kindly agreed to sponsor Claire the Nero Light tent. Firstly, that's awesome to see a brand invested in everyday people with real stories. Secondly, why the Nero Light tent specifically?
Well, initially when I got in contact with Claire, she mentioned that she needed something lightweight. So that's one of the most important things when attempting any adventure or any journey, is that you got to diagnose, well, what are my needs? And if my needs are lightweight tent, the Neurolight 2 tent was just the most obvious option, as it weighs in under 2 kilograms.
Sure.
And it was nice and sturdy, endurance tested, like Claire said, rainproof, windproof. It just seemed like the perfect fit.
Okay, great. Claire, now that tent really seems like the goods. Would you recommend that tent, Claire, to others exploring the Berg or going to a similar place, Claire?
Definitely. It's, it like I said, it was easy to erect. It was easy to... we're back on that subject. It was easy to pack up. Berdene has just said, waterproof, windproof. So definitely worth it, and very reasonably priced. I think it was 2,300 Rand in store. So very reasonable for what you get, but I would keep to one person unless you're cozy with the other person.
But I think that also adds into the lightweight. If you are going on a lightweight track, you're packing minimalist. Like you said, Claire, you're not much of a light packer. So I think for two people going on perhaps just a weekend hike and taking the bare essentials, that tent is perfect.
For sure.
Wonderful. Now, Berdene, Cape Union Mart is everywhere, literally in just about every shopping centre. And what I like about your store is the great fashion pieces in addition to the outdoor equipment. You seem to follow very much a lifestyle approach at Cape Union Mart, Berdene.
Definitely, Ryan. I think our winter 2017 range, which is going to start filtering through on our online store as well as in-store, is really a testament to this. I mean, we really have put in a lot of research into a broader color range for our soft shells, our down jackets, which are extremely popular. I always like playing the game of count the K-way when you go into a shopping mall or an airport. And the fashion focus, definitely, we're seeing a lot more rose gold trimmed zips, fur hoods, exclusive prints. We're really tapping into the fashion market, because that seems to be emerging. And I don't think it's going to die down anytime soon.
No, I'm going to go get myself one of those rose gold zipped goodie things you've just spoken about. That sounds interesting.
I don't have rose gold anything. Can you imagine?
I think it sounds awesome. Berdene, you guys have something special for our listeners today. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, for all the listeners today, we have a 500 Rand Cape Union Mart voucher up for grabs for one My Line Boots listener.
Yay.
And to enter this giveaway, you need to find Ryan's pinned post on his My Line Boots Twitter and Facebook accounts. And you must please share the post on Facebook, retweet it on Twitter, and then comment to the person telling him why you should be the lucky adventure winner of this voucher.
Great, and then we'll be announcing the winner next week, Wednesday, so we'll be in touch again, Berdene, once that. But Berdene, thanks once again for coming on board. We will run the giveaway till next week, Wednesday, as we said. Remind us, Berdene, where we can find Cape Union Mart on the various social platforms.
So on all our platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, we're just at Cape Union Mart, no spaces and all lowercase. And I also want to encourage viewers to keep a lookout for our winter 2017 range. It's going to be filtering through, like I said, in April, and that's also shopping online at capeunionmart.co.za.
Great. I'm going to be definitely looking out for that rose gold hoodie. Thanks. Definitely. Thanks, Berdene.
Thank you, and thanks so much for having me,
You're
guys.
tuned in
Pleasure.
to Soapbox Radio. Podding it out there with My Line Boots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. At My Line Boots. And on YouTube. At My Line Boots Live.
Now, Claire, tell me, there's so much more to you than just photography. Your background lies in geology, specifically diamond geology. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so roundabout the school time, I went on that last hike 26 years ago. I was really fascinated by geography and geology, so I became a geologist, went to university at Cape Town. So I spent 6 years at UCT and then worked for De Beers, and just got to the stage where I went, I don't want to spend the rest of my life working for somebody else. Life's too short to sit in a cubicle all day, so I want to have some fun, you know.
Yeah, no, it's a great realization when that happens, but it often takes a while to get there, you know.
How long ago was yours?
Oh my goodness, I'm too old to remember. I don't have enough fingers and toes to count. So Claire, you also run your own travel business and are an acclaimed speaker. Do you ever rest, Miss Appleyard?
Davina would tell you probably not enough, but yes, I do. And, you know, photography is a rest for me. It is a chance to get out. And that's why, you know, I don't necessarily know that I'd want to make it a full-time business, because it sucks the fun out of it. Yeah. So at the moment, it's a good way to check out and chill out and just enjoy various aspects of travel in Joburg. Yeah. Whereas if it was a full-time business, I definitely wouldn't be resting.
No, I'm sure it adds that element of stress to it.
It's that pressure,
you know?
for sure.
No, 100%.
For sure.
Claire, it's been great having you on Soapbox Radio today and chatting to you about your experiences. Remind us where we can find you on social media.
So I have a pretty unique name, thank you to my parents for that. Clare is spelt without an I, so it's Clare, and Appleyard is the English way, not the Afrikaans way. So Facebook, I am Clare Appleyard. Instagram, I am Clare Appleyard. Twitter, I am...
Let me guess, Clare Appleyard.
Clare Appleyard. Those are the main channels.
Okay.
And, you know, you guys can follow me there. You can hook up with me there. I'm always open to networking. I'm always open to connecting with great people around the world. So for sure, look me up.
Guys, go and check out my Twitter and feed and my Facebook page. I've just posted all of Claire's contact details that she's just mentioned for you.
This is Soapbox Radio. Potting it out there with My Line Boots. The Travel Edit.
Well, guys, I really enjoyed that show. Claire has made me want to grab my camera and take a few shots, although admittedly not in the Berg. Maybe I'll start by adventuring in my garden first, Claire. I'm reminded once again of the many beautiful places we have right here in South Africa, and I hope that you will take time to explore these more often. Do you have an interesting tale to tell just like Claire? Be sure to get in touch with me so that we can come and chat and maybe do a show with you too. In terms of next week's show, I'll be doing what I'm going to call a wild card show. So every third month, we have a fifth week in the month. These are wild card shows, and we're going to have a show totally dedicated to a person of interest. And man, do I have someone special lined up for you. But I'm not going to tell you who it is, and you will have to wait and see. But believe me, you don't want to miss this one. Also, the podcast of all my shows to date will shortly be up on the blog. So be sure to head on over to mylineboots.co.za for any shows that you may have missed. Well, guys, that was Soapbox Radio. I'm out of here, and I'll see you again next week.
You've been listening to Soapbox Radio. Potting it out there with My Line Boots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. At My Line Boots. And on YouTube. At My Line Boots Live.